Someone lost their job over one post. Another person got sued over a comment. And yet, a lot of people still believe that what you say online doesn't really have consequences, that it's just the internet, just opinions, just content. But here's the truth: the internet doesn't forget, and what you say online can follow you longer than you expect. So let's talk about this: why people believe this myth, what actually happens in real life, and how you can protect yourself before it becomes a problem. Because most people only realize this when it's already too late. Now, the reason this myth exists is simple. The internet feels casual. You're on your phone, you're scrolling, you're reacting in real time. It doesn't feel serious, it feels like a conversation. But it's not. It's a broadcast. And that's the first shift you need to understand. When you post something online, you're not just talking to one person. You're putting it out there for anyone to see, capture, and share. And once it's out there, you don't control where it goes. People can screenshot it, record it, repost it, and suddenly something you said in a few seconds can spread far beyond your original intent. Now here's where people make a critical mistake. They think deleting a post fixes everything. But it doesn't. Because if someone already saved it, it still exists. This is what we call digital permanence. And it's one of the biggest reasons why online behavior carries real consequences. Now let's talk about what those consequences actually look like, because this is where things become serious. One of the biggest legal risks is defamation. If you make a false statement about someone that harms their reputation, you can be held legally responsible. And it doesn't matter where you say it. A tweet, a comment, a video, all of it counts. Now, some people think that adding phrases like, "in my opinion," protects them. But that's not always true. If what you're saying implies false facts or damages someone's reputation, it can still be considered defamation. And this is where people get caught off guard, because they think they're just sharing thoughts, when in reality, they're creating liability. Now let's talk about harassment and threats. Online conversations can escalate quickly. What starts as a disagreement can turn into repeated messages, insults, or aggressive behavior. And when that crosses a certain line, it's no longer just an argument. It becomes a legal issue. Different places have different laws, but repeated harmful behavior or threatening language can lead to serious consequences. And again, being online doesn't protect you from that. Now here's something that affects even more people: your job, your career, your opportunities. A lot of people separate their online life from their professional life, but in reality, they're connected. Employers check social media. Clients look at your online presence. Even business partners pay attention to how you communicate. And it's not just what you post, it's how you interact. Your comments, your replies, your tone, all of it creates a digital record of who you are. And if that record reflects poorly on a company or violates expectations, it can lead to serious consequences, sometimes even losing your job. Now let's talk about context, because this is where things get tricky. A lot of content online is taken out of context. A joke, a sarcastic comment, a moment of frustration. These things can be interpreted very differently later, especially by people who weren't part of the original conversation. And once your content is shared beyond your audience, you lose control of how it's understood. And that's where problems start. Now let's talk about the long-term impact, because this doesn't just affect you today. It can follow you. When you apply for a job, when you start a business, when new opportunities come your way, people look at digital history, and what they find can shape how they see you, sometimes permanently. Now here's the important part. This doesn't mean you should stop sharing your thoughts. It doesn't mean you need to be silent. What it means is you need awareness. You need to understand that your words carry weight, and that weight doesn't disappear just because it's online. So what can you do? It's actually simple. Pause before you post, not for a long time, just long enough to think. Ask yourself a few questions. Is this accurate? Could this harm someone's reputation? Could this be misunderstood? Would I be okay if this was seen by an employer or a wider audience? These questions don't limit you. They protect you. Now here's the key mindset shift. The internet is not a place without consequences. It's a place with amplified consequences, because your words travel faster, reach further, and last longer. So the idea that you can say anything online without consequences is a myth, and it's a dangerous one, because it encourages people to act without thinking, without awareness, without understanding the risks. But once you understand how this really works, you gain control. You become more intentional, more careful, and ultimately more protected. So here's the bottom line. The internet may feel casual, but it operates in a real-world environment with real-world consequences. Your words matter, your actions matter, and what you post today can affect your future in ways you don't expect. So before you hit post, think beyond the moment, because once it's out there, you don't control where it goes next, and that awareness is what protects you.